The movie opens on a rainy day in the center of Tokyo. The city is as busy as usual, but a young boy from high school named Takao Akizuki skips his class because of the weather. After getting out of the station, Takao walks into a nearby park. As he walks around, he notices a familiar woman, Yukari Yukino, sitting under a shed. She also chose to skip her stresses for the day and enjoy the rain. He can't remember where they've met before, so he takes shelter in the shed too, taking out his sketchbook. Takao sketches women's shoes and someday wants to be a famous shoe designer. He is also working part-time to achieve his dream. Takao looks at Yukari's shoes and instinctively sketches them while asking Yukari if they've ever met before. As Yukari is enjoying her chocolate and beer, Takao draws Yukari's shoes. She denies knowing him but notices his high school badge on his shirt. As she leaves, she says some puzzling words that didn't ring any bell on Takao's mind. Takao thought it might be a famous quote. However, reading a quote to a stranger is really weird. Takao starts dinner as soon as he gets home. He shares the apartment with his older brother, who unexpectedly lets slip that he will move in with his girlfriend the following month. Takao feels down and alone. He questions whether going to school, taking the subway, and returning to an empty house is the totality of his life. After a few days, it starts to rain, and Takao is delighted to skip class once more. He makes his way cheerfully down the street until he comes to the shed, where Yukari is already seated. Before the silence descends, they both say good morning to one another. Takao draws a shoe for Yukari in his sketchbook after quietly obtaining it. Yukari starts the conversation by teasing Takao. She asks if it's a school holiday, as he is not in class. This makes Takao counter the comment by saying if she is having an early appointment as she is not in working and drinking. Yukari finds his words amusing while admitting that she skipped work again. When Takao suggests she shouldn't drink so much, Yukari shows him her stack of chocolate bars. Takao thinks she is weird as she had a lot of chocolate with her, but also finds it interesting. As they continue to chat for a bit more, Takao says that he has to leave. Both look a bit sad as their time has come to an end. The next couple of times, the two meet during the rainy days, skipping their responsibilities and relaxing in the heart of nature. They too grow close through their chats and each other's company. As the months go by, Takao attends classes on days when it's not rainy and works at a food restaurant on his off days. Because he gets to meet Yukari on a rainy day, he treasures the weather. He dislikes his part-time job because to him, it seems more like a meaningless routine. One day, he finally shares his desire to work as a shoe designer. Although he admits he isn't all that skilled, he is very passionate about creating something that is, in fact, real. Takao is reassured by Yukari that if he is passionate, he will undoubtedly succeed in his endeavors. Takao is encouraged by this and works even harder to fit shoemaking into his hectic schedule of going to school, working, and coming home. As the days pass, Takao is constantly in thoughts about Yukari and keeps looking forward to meeting her. As he wakes up, the only thing on his mind is hoping it rains because on sunny days, he is somewhere he doesn't want to be at work instead of his shop creating shoes or at school surrounded by children who are endlessly chasing the society's rules. From Takao's perspective, Yukari is doing what she likes to do and represents every secret that is far from his world. He knows that she only looks at him as a child because she is a 27-year-old working woman while he is just a 15-year-old high schooler. It's raining again and the girl skips work again. During their meet, Takao finds himself sleeping next to the girl in the shed where he reminisces about his past and the day the family decided to buy their mother a present. It was a pair of beautiful sparkling shoes which stole his heart. Meanwhile, later that day in Yukari's apartment, she seems to go through a tough time in her life as well. Her room is messy, and she is mysteriously unmotivated to go to work. She has felt nothing for a long time, but that is a lie because Takao is also constantly on her mind. She gives Takao a very fascinating shoe book in July. Takao reveals to her with a joy that he is actually creating a pair of shoes. Yukari thinks it's for himself, but Takao says they are women's shoes. He shares he is having trouble graphing out the right size, as he doesn't have a model. Yukari is surprised to know they're shoes for women. As she smiles, she takes her shoe off and lets Takao measure her feet in order to help him complete his project. Moments later, out of the blue, as she stands on the bench, she says that it isn't like walking anymore. Takao asks her if it's her job that has been troubling her, but she says it's more like everything. Suddenly, Takao realizes he knows nothing about her, not her job, not her age or even her name. Now it's August and Takao can't stop thinking about her. They haven't met for some time as it didn't rain for a while. Takao took a lot of shifts at his part-time job during the entire summer in order to pay for his school's tuition. Meanwhile, in Yukari's apartment, she is crying and in distress. Later in the day, she tells herself that she has always been here, stuck in the same place. As months pass, Takao tells himself he misses Yukari, but if he claims those feelings, it won't do any good. He will never escape the entire society and the role has shoved him into which he desperately tries to climb out. Takao tells himself that the only way to help her is to keep working on a pair of shoes that'll make her want to get up and finally walk and find her way. A month has passed, and it is now September. Takao is in school talking to his friends who teased him for always being late to school and skipping first class on rainy days. He tells them he always takes the day off when it rains. Moments later, as they are walking towards their classes, Takao and Yukari see each other in school's hallway. They both quickly stop in complete shock when the girls from the school quickly start addressing her as a teacher. Takao later finds out from his friends the shocking truth about Yukari. She's a teacher at their school and teaches literature. She has been skipping work because some students have been severely harassing her. It turns out that a student's boyfriend at school had complimented her beauty, which is why the jealous student began spreading false rumors about her. Her life was made difficult by those rumors, and when her parents learned about them, they were terribly ashamed of her, forcing her into a solitary. Takao decides to confront the bullies who ruined Yukari's life in the evening. He slaps the jealous girl who started a conversation when it doesn't go well, but gets attacked by the bigger senior. Even though it is not raining, Takao and Yukari meet the following morning. Takao finishes the verse from the day they met. He finally found the meaning of the strange words she said when they first met. It was an old Japanese poem. After replying to the poem, Takao replies that his views and how he feels about her haven't changed. Suddenly, with thunder and lightning, rain pours in. They both initially seek refuge in their usual shed, but soon decide to move to Yukari's apartment, which is quite close to the park. While she irons their clothes, the rain is still loud in the background. Since Yukari only consumes chocolates and beer, Takao decides to prepare a special meal. In addition, Yukari prepares coffee to go with the meal. They realize as they sit down laughing and taking pleasure in one another's company that they may be both at their happiest points in their lives. While Takao takes a sip of his coffee and mumbles, "I love you," Yukari was doing the dishes. Although she is startled, Yukari presses through her surprise and requests that Takao refer to her as Miss Yukari. Yukari shares that she's moving back home next week. She decided a while back, and the garden was a way of helping her learn to accept her life's course. Takao, who feels heartbroken with Yukari's distancing step, looks her in the eyes and thanks her for her hospitality. After saying it was nice meeting her, Takao quickly gathers his stuff and walks out. Sitting in the empty place, Yukari slowly realizes the mistake she just made. She sits crying, reminiscing about their past together. Yukari jumps out of her seat and runs out to reach Takao in time. As she runs barefoot, she slips on the wet staircase, causing her to fall. She quickly gets up despite her injuries and finds Takao standing alone on the staircase. Takao sees Yukari and lashes out in anger. He thinks Yukari never liked him and always thought of him as a child. Takao thinks she never believed he could measure up to his dreams he has been telling her, and that she was just humoring a kid's fantasies for a while. He yells at her, telling her saying it's the reason she's been all alone. He asks her to tell him how much she hates him. When Takao kept saying how insignificant he thinks he is in Yukari's life, a crying Yukino rushes to him and hugs him tight. Yukari pours her heart out as she confesses her love for him. She tells him that every morning she'd put on a suit for work, but she was scared to face those disgusting words and whispers. She also tells Takao that he saved her and made her feel something again when she had lost all her hopes for life. They hold each other, finally realizing the void missing in their lives had finally been filled. It's now winter. Yukari is teaching at a school once again. She wonders about Takao and how he is doing in life. In the shed, Takao opens a letter from Yukari. She hopes he is doing well and that the warm days of spring will come soon. As Takao enjoys his own company, sitting next to the shoes he had finished with Yukari, he realizes she wasn't the only one practicing to move on with life. He thinks to himself that one day, when he can walk on his own and is socially acceptable to be with her, he will find Yukari and finally meet. The movie ends here. If you enjoyed this recap, check out the other videos as well and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps and turn on the bell notification for future uploads. Thanks for watching.